Bolivia is a very environmentally diverse country located in central South America, with its terrain ranging from mountains to rainforests and even deserts. The northern Bolivian Amazon covers 3 departments, Pando being the largest of the 3. Brazil nuts grow in the wild and have been known by the natives of the region since pre-Columbian times. They were discovered by the European settlers in the early 19th century. Brazil nuts are harvested during the rainy season, from December to March. Brazil nut trees are among the highest in the Amazon rainforest, some growing up to 50 meters tall. Approximately 27,500 tons of Brazil nuts are traded annually worldwide. Of this total, 78% comes from Bolivia and the rest coming from Brazil or Peru. In Bolivia, the Brazil nut is the second most exported non-traditional product after soybeans. In 2015, more than 20,000 tons of Brazil nuts were exported, earning $192 million for the country. In the last 2 decades, several reports have documented abusive practices, the most recent of which was published in 2013. In Bolivia, the 2 industry organizations for producers declined to react to the research findings. Both Eurocopina, the country's leading exporter, and Cadexnor, the industry organization for exporters, responded with general discontent. Workers feel trapped in their work because of debt owed to their bosses. 64% of workers are often in debt to their employer because of requested advances on their wages. They are dependent on the employer for their basic necessities because they live in isolated camps called barracas, where the camp belongs to the plantation owner. This often results in child labor because workers bring their underage children to help with the harvest, but even then, they do not earn enough to make ends meet. Producers refuse to raise workers' wages even when the industry is booming, take advantage and exploit their workers for their financial gain. Extremely low wages despite entire families working on the same camp. Only 14% of the retail price ends up in the pockets of Bolivian harvest and processing workers. Some workers experience threats, sexual harassment and violence at work. Brazil nut trees are very vulnerable and there is still no reforestation plan to preserve the population of this valuable species. According to research done by Verite.org, 25% of workers reported death threats against themselves or family members who said they wanted to leave. An additional 16% reported threats of physical abuse, including sexual abuse against the worker or their partner or even their daughters. Unsatisfactory sanitary conditions and the spread of disease led to a salmonella outbreak in more than 30 countries that received Brazil nuts from Bolivia. In November 2020, harvest and factory workers as well as indigenous and local forest landowners united for the first time to demand better prices and wages. As the retail price for Brazil nuts increased, the wages of harvest workers have flatlined. This industry also has an environmental impact because most Brazil nut trees are mature and very fragile due to their size. They are quite large trees, so strong winds can knock them over easily. Because they can't grow anywhere else, production is becoming more and more limited, and companies are also overexploiting them. The communities are not yet aware of the importance of Brazil nut trees, even though they're crucial to the economy. Therefore, the Bolivian government should introduce an urgent reforestation plan. The Bolivian government has legal mechanisms to combat forced labor and has been active in doing so, but has a limited capacity, especially in isolated areas. Bolivia has a legal framework to address land redistribution, which it has used to combat forced labor. Brazil nut trees could potentially be the gateway to protecting the Amazon rainforest if governments put environmental legislation in place. However, there will have to be more consequences as to corporations violating their workers' human rights.